Hello fellow bike people! If you saw the last video about the Radwagon that we put out, we said we were going to address its one critical flaw. So let's do that! Before we go further, I want to apologize. Again, we're filming indoors, we don't have a ton of space, weather's bad, so we don't want to risk the e-bike systems, and we don't want to work on the bike out there. And today we're actually doing some bike repair.
We? Or I am doing some bike repair?
Well, in theory you, but let's see how this goes. We are installing a new shifter, because the shifter is broken, and we're going to go over the reason for why they chose this shifter and put it in such a vulnerable place. Yeah, I think this repair will be easy enough for Brianna to do on her own, because realistically this is one of the easier shifters to install in terms of bikes in the grand scheme of things. And you know, she's had enough experience working on bikes. I think this will be fine. I'm just going to get involved if there's some sort of problems or a sticky bit we run into. So this is the shifter we're installing. This is just the basic Shimano 7-speed index thumb shifter. These things are like 30 bucks for the left and right pair, so very inexpensive. And I've also grabbed just a longer cable. So I'm not sure that the original cable with that shifter will be long enough to fit this extended frame here. So that's the old shifter. You can see it's completely broken off on top. That's what it's supposed to look like. That's what it does look like. This one was also silver to begin with, so that whole top cover's cracked off. Now I really don't like this shifter, but I understand why they put this shifter on the bike. See this down here? That is the throttle cable. So your throttle doesn't work without this cable, and you could run that over the top and run a better trigger shifter. The problem then is your cable's running over the top and it's exposed. And Brianna had a little crash on the bike. And that's how this happened. And I'm gonna be honest, I understand why they chose to put this shifter here and run the cable underneath, because having this as a sacrificial, like, you know, shield, that's a way easier thing to replace than the throttle cable itself or the whole throttle. So having this running underneath where it's protected seems like a good idea to me, and I'm okay with the fact they chose a cheap shifter for this bike because I understand their rationale. What she's doing right now is that screw right on the bottom, that's under there. She's just pulling that screw all the way out, and then we're going to take the shifter off. So I'm going to do this bit just because this is not technically the proper way to do it. You're supposed to slide everything off the handlebar, but this is one of the few shifters left on the market that has a steel clamp on there, so it's super flexible. You can just get a screwdriver or something inside it. You can open it up, enough to just pop that off the bar. And that's not going to be kinked up enough that it's going to damage it and you can't reuse it, so we're going to do the same thing to install the new one. Close that back up. Now she's just tightening that in place, then we're going to move on to getting the cable threaded through. We're not reusing the old cable, so I'm just going to go down there and give it a little snappy.
Don't cut the wrong one.
No kidding.
Okay, now what?
Next, grab this and yoink! That is the old broken shifter and cable off. Now we're just going to untangle that cable and thread it back into the housing. So we are hoping that the original cable is long enough. If it's not, we're going to install that tandem size cable.
How will you know if it's long enough?
It's going to stick out the end.
Okay.
As suspected, the original cable is too short, so we're going to have to install the longer tandem size one.
So I have to pull this back out?
Yep, all the way out. And then, whoop, and the shifter as well.
Oh, right. And then I just get the little hole and put it. I gotcha.
Oh man, this one is long.
You're gonna have to probably cut it at the end.
Oh yeah, we are definitely gonna have a ton of extra cable. It can be a little finicky getting it through there, but just kind of twist and wiggle and spin it and it'll find its way. It'll find its way. It knows it's left from right.
Will it ever be like tight?
No. Alright, now fire that down there.
Alright. Thanks for the assist there, bud. Let me get this.
This gear, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but we have the gear in 7th or its highest gear or its most released position. You notice shifting one direction on the shifter always pulls cable, one releases cable. Always go to the most released position to set up the rest of this. Awesome sauce. So that's the whole top set up. Now we're going to move the camera, go down to the bottom end, show you how to do that. Alright, we are filming. So first thing, take this and undo this bolt, pull out the remains of the old cable. You don't need to remove it, just undo it like one turn to loosen it off. Now fire the cable down through this hole and have it running in alongside this. And pull her all the way. Now if you look down under here, see how I have the cable pulled into a little bit, or like it's trying to go into a little bit of a notch in there? Loosen off so it goes all the way into that notch under the washer there. Yeah, that's in the notch, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. So now tighten that up. You see how I'm pulling it taut but not super tight? And it's in its smallest cog, which is the 7th gear on this one. So that's the most relaxed position on there, and theoretically that should be a good baseline tension for the cable. So I'm going to tilt the bike a little bit, I'm going to pedal, and I'm going to shift. That needs a little bit of adjustment, but that's not too bad.
What adjustment does it need?
Let's see how it wasn't pulling all the way into the biggest cog.
So I mean this part needs to be a little bit tighter?
And that means you need to turn that counterclockwise, so over that way.
This?
The barrel adjuster here.
Barrel adjuster, okay. Goes over this way.
Yep, just the littlest bit should do it.
Okay, I think I did just go a little bit.
Alright, let's see.
Try it. Oop.
All the way up into first. Oh, still not holding first very well, so gonna need a little bit more on that.
Okay.
There we go. It's holding first a little bit better, so I think we might need a tiny bit more tension.
Okay.
Maybe a tiny bit more. First is pretty good now.
How's it feeling?
Feeling good. And the limit screws were already set from before, so that's about it. Now we just need to clean up the cable and we're done.
Alright.
So unfortunately, I don't have any proper cable ends here, so...
Can we steal the old one?
No, those are kind of one-time use. But we're going to be a little bit ghetto with this.
It's far.
It is, because we want to be able to be a fairly clean aesthetic loop like that. That will have to be cleaned up later, but yeah, I'm going to have to go to Cycle Path and grab like a cable end, but that's
Would you have cute like pink and blue ones?
Oh, I have blue, I have
wait,
red,
and you want
gold, I
blue.
have black, yeah.
Blue to match the pedals.
Yeah, but yeah, that's it. So, changing the shifter and the cable, pretty easy. Basic summary is, there is a screw underneath the shifter, you remove it, you bend the old one off, you bend the new one on, bolt the shifter in place, feed a longer cable through, feed that all down to the housing, and then just bolt the cable in right at the bottom there. And if it needs any final adjustment, there's that little adjuster at the back where you can like dial in your cable tension. So that is the one thing that I consider a critical flaw in this bike addressed. You might have to do this repair yourself, but really it's pretty easy and the part is super affordable, and it's one of the few parts that hasn't really been affected by the whole part shortages going on right now. They're a little trickier than before to get, but not like, let's say, 8-speed components.
I think I could do this again myself if I had to. I'd probably have him come and check and dial through all the gears and do any minor adjustments, but I think I could probably install that myself next time.
There's a good mark in favor of the Rad. Not only is it fairly easy to assemble, like your average person without any mechanical or bike experience could assemble this out of the box, your average person without any bicycle and mechanical experience could also do basic repairs on this. It's really user-friendly in that way. Good work, Rad.